Okay, let's talk about voter intimidation and your rights at the polls. You may have heard that Donald Trump has been talking about these election monitors, these poll watchers. If you want to make sure that it's not rigged for Hillary by mostly Republican state legislatures, governors, and voting commissions, but let's put that inconvenient fact aside for a second. You can sign up to help Trump monitor the polls to make sure that there's no, intimidation or the wrong people voting, whatever. In any case, this is making a lot of people say, oh, well, what's going to happen when I show up to vote on November 8th? We are expecting antagonism. We are expecting aggressiveness. There are some examples I want to give you of what you might experience at the polls. Questioning people about citizenship outside of the polls, questioning people about their criminal record, questioning people about qualifications to vote. That is voter intimidation, and you need to know how to deal with that, and I will tell you how to deal with that. Falsely presenting oneself in a way that makes it seem as though there's some kind of election official. This is something you need to be prepared for because there are going to be legitimate election officials at the polls. But with this cadre of incompetence that Donald Trump has been building through a website sign-up form, you're going to see people that are not officially involved with the election in any way that are going to be there, maybe intimidating, maybe aggressive. If anybody is walking around voting lines spreading false information, like, for example, hey, you have to be able to speak English to vote, but that's not true. Or here's the document you need to vote when it may not actually be true in a particular state you're voting in. Or displaying signs that are false or misleading about voter fraud. All of these activities fall under voter intimidation, and you need to know how to deal with this. So first of all, who can you report this to? Okay, let's start there. Number one, you can report voter intimidation to the Election Protection Hotline, 866-OUR-VOTE. You can also call the U.S. Department of Justice Voting Rights Hotline, 800-253-3931. And you can also talk to your local and state officials. This includes poll workers. This includes the county clerk, etc. Pat, do you think people in general are equipped and they know what to do or who to call? I think most people don't. People will show up and they'll say, that doesn't look right, but they won't actually be equipped with who to call or what to do. So I think this is really important.
Yeah, for the most part, this intimidation tactic could work. And we know that the Republican Party has a history of this. In 1981, they got in trouble for sending off-duty police officers to intimidate people that were voting in the New Jersey gubernatorial election.
Yeah, that's one very specific example, but many more. So who could actually be a poll monitor? You might show up and see people claiming that they are election officials, poll monitors, there to make sure everything is on the up and up. It depends on the state. But in many states, you actually have to be trained and certified and have paperwork with you. And in many states, you also have to be registered to vote in the location you are monitoring. So a few different things to be aware of. If you are not on the list of registered voters when you show up and you believe that you should be, if they can't find you, you ask for a provisional ballot. Every voter is entitled to a provisional ballot, even if you are not showing up in the registered book. And in the days after the election, in principle, that is a vote that is going to be counted if you're indeed authorized to vote. Number two, there cannot be campaigning at polling places as a general thing inside. And then the laws vary from state to state in terms of what is allowed outside and how far you have to be. You can campaign a certain number of feet from the front door type of thing. And I've experienced that many, many times. The important thing is do not allow yourself to be scared into not voting. Know your rights, have the numbers written down that I mentioned. You can go back and if you're watching this video on YouTube or check out the clip on YouTube. And also, you are able to involve local police if necessary. Don't forget that at any point, you can call local police if you believe that you have been intimidated, that there is an aggressive, non-authorized in many cases, poll watcher. Know your rights, know what you have to do. The ACLU has a very, very good and extensive write-up on this, because there are going to be, at least in some states, these Trump-supporting poll watchers there to intimidate. And we've got to make sure that every voter actually has their vote, that is able to cast their vote, and that the votes are counted. I keep getting emails from people saying, David, whatever it is that you're talking about on your show about this upcoming election, it doesn't matter because I know who is ultimately going to win. And to all of these people, I say, well, it's great that you're so confident. Why don't you actually bet on it then? You can go to betdsi.com where you can bet on Hillary Clinton versus Donald Trump. You can bet on state by state election results and so many other areas. And if you use coupon code Pakman25, once again, that's PAKMAN25, you'll get $25 free towards an election play. And, on November 9th, everybody's going to be saying, oh, I knew X was going to happen. If you're really that sure, you can actually make some money off of it. This is like when psychics claim to be real. I always say, well, if that's the case, you can use that to your advantage and show us that you actually know the future. Along the same lines, you should see my Twitter feed, my Facebook feed, YouTube, email. People seem to think that they are psychic with regard to this election. And to you, I say, head over to betdsi.com, which has been in business more than 20 years. Use code Pakman25 to get a free $25 bonus for betting and make some cash with your incredibly accurate predictions that you claim you can make.